October 10th, 2013. This is Blue Skies Truth Radio. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to Blue Skies Truth Radio at bstr.ca. What a fantastic day to be alive. Absolutely glorious outside, not a chemtrail in sight. It's really actually difficult to find out what the weather's going to be like these days. One day it's chemtrail free, and the next day it's cloudy as hell. We've got Mark from Toronto Truth Seekers joining us today. I wanted him to take a moment to let you guys know how his Truth Seeker knowledge progressed. Okay, and then we're going to talk about a very, very important topic right now, genetically modified organisms. But Mark, say hello to the folks at home and tell us about your journey.
Well, thank you for having me on again. Thank you for having me back. Hello. Are there people inside here?
They're not right in the mic, but yes, theoretically they're there.
Hi. What are we talking about today?
Well, we were talking about your progression into the truth world and your journey. You were telling us earlier that it was the weather agenda, climate change, and then I remember you telling me before about an email that you had received before you knew about 9/11, before you knew about chemtrails, before you knew about any of that stuff. You received a disturbing email about a beheading. Do you remember that story?
Oh, no, that wasn't an email. That was a YouTube video. Okay, so I knew something was going on with the whole global warming thing before Al Gore's movie was even released. So the idea was starting to gel in my mind that a huge conspiracy might be going on. A huge one. Because this global warming thing, I knew it was fake, but I could see it being rolled out. And I'm like, whoa, if this is a hoax, man. And then I didn't know about 9/11 yet. And it was about 2006. And I was at a friend's, and the Nicholas Berg beheading had just happened. This young man was taken hostage, and Al-Qaeda beheaded him, and they live streamed it globally. And it was all the talk on the news about these barbarians who had, not only had they beheaded this man, but they had live streamed it. And I was at my friend's, and he said, oh, this is sick, do you want to see this? And I'm sitting on the other side of his desk, and I'm like, no, turn that down, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to see it. And we finished our business, and I left. And I remember thinking, oh, that's sick, why would anyone want to see that? And then I remember thinking, but I do remember on 9/11, some guys were jumping out of the tops of them buildings, and I wouldn't mind seeing someone fall about 100 floors. I wonder what that looked like. And I was just starting to become exposed to YouTube. It was, relatively new to me. And so I went to YouTube and I started typing 9/11. And I was like, what? And that's when I saw Road to Tyranny. And so the idea was presented to me for the first time that 9/11 could be an inside job. And I rejected that immediately because I thought, well, there's no way the government would kill 3,000 of its own people. Immediately followed by the thought that if that was true, it would be all over the media. Because at that time, I believed that it was the media's job to inform me of all the important things going on in the world that I needed to know about. Because I was deceived. So yeah, when I first saw this information, I rejected it. But you know what? It was very compelling. And I had to continue looking.
Mark, I gotta cut you off right there. Before you tell us about how compelling it was, I'm gonna take a break for a minute. When we come back, we're going to find out what that took you to, the 9/11 falling man. And why is it so hard to understand that 9/11 was an inside job? You are now listening to Toronto's most favorite radio station. This is Blue Skies Radio, where we tune in, we get informed, we grow together, and we have some laughs. tune in every day of the week, Monday through Friday. Hey, it's Ryan from Blue Skies Radio. Do you eat food? Do you have a backyard? Do you have a balcony? Do you have a window? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you should be growing food. If you're not growing food, what are you thinking? You might be thinking it's a little bit too difficult. You don't know how to start. Well, give us a call at TorontoWormCompany.com and we'll show you how anyone can grow anywhere. 416-839-4769. It's your right to grow. I wasn't eating enough fruits or vegetables, that's why I turned to Beyond Tangy Tangerine. It's a unique multivitamin mineral complex in powdered form, a natural antioxidant that packs a whopping 115 fruits and vegetables within it to support optimal health and a healthy immune, cardiovascular, and digestive system. Give us a call today at 416-839-4769. That's 416-839-GROW. And we're back with Blue Skies Truth Radio. We've got Mark in the studio. Taking a look outside, it's absolutely glorious. Praise God, there's not a chemtrail in sight. I can't believe how beautiful it is. Watching the sun go down, seeing the colors change around you. What an absolutely gorgeous world we live in. Everywhere I look, I can't help but see God's face. God is everywhere. Mark, isn't God great? Praise God.
Praise God.
Praise God. Praise God. I mean, thank you very much, Mark. You were a big introduction to the Bible for me as well, a reimagining of the Bible. You showed me a lot of links in the past. As a matter of fact, you shared with me some MP3 files I was able to put onto my phone and listen to. Guys, if you ever wanted to go online and take a look at that, you can download the King James Version Bible, put it right onto your phone, and that way there you can listen to it while you're driving. You can listen to it right before you go to sleep or even when you wake up. Mark, what would be the website if people wanted to download the King James Version Bible?
I don't know, Ryan. I got it off a torrent.
You're the best. You're the best. All right, so you were watching the clips on 9/11, Falling Man. Go on.
Well, yeah. The information was compelling. I had to continue looking. And the more I looked, the more I realized, holy crap. This actually went down. And at that point, I cut off my cable and I stopped watching television and I stopped listening to mainstream media because I understood that all those people in the media were complicit in that event by not exposing it. And all those celebrities who had an opportunity to use their position of celebrity to make the truth be known, they weren't. And so they were all complicit. And I rejected that, and I spent about the next 4 or 5 years just consuming alternative media.
And that's when you got introduced to Alex Jones.
Okay, well, I was driving in a car with an AM radio at the time, and I discovered George Norrie and Coast to Coast. So that was the first thing. I started listening to, I subscribed to Rents. I started listening to all of his stuff, going through years of archives, picking out names of people who were discussing topics of interest, and I developed an unquenchable thirst for truth. I had to know the truth. And the only way I could know the truth was by excluding and ruling out all other possibilities. That's the only way you can know something is true, is by having ruled out every other possibility. And if you can do that, then you don't need to believe because you know.
So you went through 4-year education, basically, of truth, where you were listening to the likes of Joyce Riley on the Power Hour, George Norrie on Coast to Coast, Jeff Rents, Rents.com. Who else were you listening to?
Alex Jones, Mike Rivero, Alan Watt.
And then slowly some of them started fading out for you.
Well, yes, because as I started to develop understanding, as my knowledge increased, and as I developed discernment, I was able to tell when they were lying to me. And I was able to tell which ones were secret society guys, and even which secret societies they probably came from, by the things they would say or not say I was able to.
Now, for the folks at home, those are known as gatekeepers.
Yeah.
Okay. Explain what a gatekeeper is, Mark. We've got about a minute and a half before
They
we
do
cut.
damage control. Oh, word's out. Everyone's finding out. We can't keep a lid on this anymore, so we're going to control the release of the information. The best, I think it was Vladimir Lenin. The best way to control the opposition is to lead it. May have been Stalin.
Oh, that's a dangerous quote. Yeah, I know. I've seen several instances myself of damage control or controlled opposition. I remember you and I went to the Charlie Sheen viewing in Toronto at Massey Hall. That was very exciting to see him and get a video of him live.
Yeah, that was an interesting exercise.
And I swear, half of the people in the audience there were truthers. Like, we were all there simply to support Charlie for the fact that he was a 9/11 truther and he was supporting a new investigation and the demolition of World Trade Center 7 and World Trade Center 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And we were thrilled. So we gave him, he opened up his show 5, 10, 15 minutes talking about whatever he wanted to. And then finally someone in the audience yelled out, "What about 9/11, Charlie? Tell him about Building 7. And Charlie went, "Oh, yeah, well, regarding Building 7,
And then
it's
the
time."
music would kick in
The
and
music-
they go, "Bring out the goddesses!"
That
and
was
the
it.
models would come out. And
Yeah, just the music kicked in and he went, "Bring out the goddesses." And out came these two beautiful chicks. Their boobs were bouncing everywhere.
total distraction.
A complete distraction. All of a sudden, everyone was foaming at their mouth, forgot about 9/11, and for the rest of the show, half of us were just scratching our head going, "What just happened there?"
That happened like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, that was pretty disappointing. Other than that, I got a really cool video with Charlie when he was pulling up to Massey Hall there, so take a look at it on Our Thoughts Are Things on YouTube.com. Have you ever wanted to fly? The very first time I saw my father fly by with his rollerblades, I knew that was something I wanted to do. 25 years later, I'm a trained professional. Hi, I'm Ryan from TorontoWormCompany.com, and I'm here to let you know that rollerblading is the best feeling I've ever had in my life. Take it from me, I've been skydiving, I've been go-karting, I've even gone swimming with sharks. But nothing compares to that feeling I get when I rollerblade. The wind blowing in your hair, people are smiling at you, they all want to do it. You can see it in their eyes, they just want to grab some skates and skate with you. Well, now's your chance, world. Give me a call at 416-839-4769 and you can learn to fly. Ooh, yeah. I love that Blue Skies radio. Dig it. Final segment of the show. I love having Mark in the show here. It really makes it flow really nice. He's got so much knowledge. We were talking about the damage control that happened at the Charlie Sheen Massey Hall. Mark, you were saying that it happened a couple of times that evening.
Well, yeah, I recall one time someone yelled, talk about 9/11, Charlie, and another time someone yelled, talk about Building 7. There was at least 2, clearly I remember, perhaps 3. And each time it was on cue. Bring out the goddesses. They were like trained monkeys. It was sickening. I could see it clearly before me. I understood what was going on, and I'm looking around and I'm like, doesn't anyone see what's going on here? We're in Massey Hall. The place is packed.
That's pretty intense, man. That's pretty intense, Mark. I've seen a lot of these events, these staged events, being used as reasons to implement laws.
Yeah, that's the old Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution.
Problem, reaction, solution. Explain that for the folks at home.
Well, it's theses, antitheses. You want something to occur. You know that people will never go along with it. They're in total opposition to it. And so you create a situation where they're begging for it.
Okay. I remember when Toronto, they were wanting to put cameras on the city buses and subways in Toronto, and the people were saying, no, we don't want cameras. in our private areas when we're traveling. And then all of a sudden, slowly but surely, all these media reports started happening about robberies in the TTC and muggings on the buses. And how, oh, there was nothing we could do. And the robber got away. If we could just identify him somehow. Maybe if we had cameras, maybe. Next thing you know, people were begging for the cameras, and at the next meeting, guess what?
Yeah, the editorials.
We gotta cut to commercial. We gotta cut to a quote of the day. This quote brought to you by Toronto Worm Company, where anyone can grow anywhere. 416-839-4769. Use what talents you possess. The woods would be very silent if no birds sang there, except those that sang best. Henry Van Dyke. That quote brought to you by Toronto Worm Company, where anyone can grow anywhere. Do you own worms yet? Seriously, do you have worms? Cool quote. I love that part of the show. Mark, what you were saying.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the increased reporting, there probably wasn't an actual increase in bus robberies or crimes. There was just a disproportionate reporting combined with, I would imagine, I don't know because I don't read the newspapers, but typically their tactic would be to have the people who do the editorials in the newspapers doing commentary on this issue to get it in people's minds. Because it was a non-issue and they have to make it an issue. How they do that? By controlling the media with the editorials. Because that's the water cooler talk, whatever's on, you know?
Got it. Another tactic I noticed was that they'll say, oh, we're just going to introduce this as a test phase. We're going to introduce maybe 2 cameras or 3 cameras as a test phase.
Yeah, the personal income tax was introduced that way.
Wow, and then these test phases always turn permanent, right? It's the foot in the door. It's the camel's nose, if you will.
Well, it doesn't apply to everyone, just a certain group. And that's how everyone goes along with it.
I guess it's really just the people's perception, right? Ah, that's pretty crazy. Okay, so we were talking about that. What about, what do you want to end the show on?
Oh, I'm just looking at this 1974 UM World Food Conference. It's basis for, we were talking about GMO earlier, and food being used as a weapon. The elite make no. It was, I think it was Kissinger. He said, if you control oil, you control nations, you control food, you control people. We use food as a weapon, we make no apologies. Or something like that.
Yeah.
And so that kind of dovetails into the whole GMO thing, because clearly GMO foods are being used as a weapon against us, clearly. So not only are they weaponizing food and using it as a weapon through control, but also through alteration and making it, turning it into something toxic. These are real insidious guys we're dealing with.
Yeah. You showed me the King Corn movie. Watched the trailer and they said it's enough to make you distrust everything on your plate. Oh, another movie, Food Matters. They said, if you want to know what's wrong, just look down at your plate. It's staring right back at you. And it's all the same concept. All the old adages, you are what you eat, right? Well, I'm glad to hear that we've got that March Against Monsanto version 2 tomorrow. Holy shit, I heard that Monsanto was hiring Blackwater. You hear that?
For?
Something to do with the protests.
Oh, they're going to be bashing skulls at the protest. That's typical.
Oh, man. That's the last thing you want is sharpshooters and snipers on the top of the buildings. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. Blue Skies Truth Radio. We're going to do another episode with Mark where he's going to talk about GMOs and how they're using food as a weapon. Is it true? Could it be? Thank you for tuning in. Blue Skies Truth Radio. We love you.
Ooh, yeah. I love that Blue Skies Radio. Dig it.